Hey everybody, welcome to Connect in Cannabis, brought to you by Wrazel. I'm your host, Brian Holler. Hope everybody's doing well out there today. Today I'll be speaking with Cannabis Works co-founder and health and wellness director, Shelly McKay. She is here with us. Shelly, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So let's hop right on into it. What's Cannabis Works?
So Cannabis Works is a licensed dispensary in Santa Ana. We're a medicinal dispensary first, and now we operate under Prop 64. And we're one of the legal 19 dispensaries in Santa Ana right now.
Very, very cool. How long have you guys been around?
We opened in February of 2018. We were one of the last ones to open.
There you go. Very good. Full disclosure, I've been there. It's fantastic. If you have a chance and you're in the area, please check out Cannabis Works in Santa Ana. It's a lot of cool. It's very, very well constructed. A lot of good stuff there. Speaking of which, you guys put a high premium, obviously you're the co-founder, on health and wellness, educating folks around that. If I recall correctly, there's even a meeting room or a conference room in Cannabis Works where you sometimes hold workshops and things.
We do. I mean, sadly, we're not using it right now, but
obviously
we have a conference room in the back of the dispensary we call it Wellness Works. And that's where we do hold a lot of our different education gatherings and meetings. But, I think just to back up and give you a history of why we did what we did. The owners, we'd worked in the cannabis space, and back in 2012, before I was in cannabis, I had a friend that was diagnosed with esophageal cancer stage 4. And, the doctor had said he had a few months to live and get his affairs in order. So my husband and my friend Eddie, they decided that they'd heard about Rick Simpson oil. So they started growing back in 2012 and 13 and then creating this oil just extracted from the plant. And so Eddie would take this oil every day, along with the other treatments that he was doing. And he managed to outlive his diagnosis by 3 years. And so right then and there, I mean, I knew that cannabis was helpful for, at least the side effects that he was experiencing from different things he was doing with his treatment. Absolutely. But, and then personally, once I started to work with cannabis, and then I started working with a company in Northern California that would sell ratioed oils under Prop 215, basically, it was doctor referred. And so when I started working with all of these patients as a cannabis coach myself, this was back in 2016 and 17, I definitely saw the benefit of cannabis as medicine. People were not only using it in these terrible situations where they had glioblastomas, and maybe the oil, I never saw any sort of cures with these oils because they did this Rick Simpson protocol. So I never saw that, but I would see an improvement to their life. And the family members would say that, thank you so much more for this time that we have had, and so when I then saw the benefit of cannabis oil as, more of a medicinal product, I started using it on myself. Mm-hmm. And I, for a few years, from 2013 to 2017, had 5 orthopedic surgeries. And because I was a gymnast, I mean, I had a lot of reasons why, my body was kind of failing. But so I had gone in for neck surgery, shoulder, elbow, knee. I mean, it was surgery after surgery. And, you get on that wheel, that little hamster wheel of, they're going to give you anti-inflammatories first, then try with a cortisone injection. And then after that, it's a cycle. And then finally to surgery, then to PT, and so I found myself on this wheel. It was what is going on? My body is breaking down. I was in my, mid 30s, and it was horrific. And so even with the pharmaceuticals I was on, it was causing a lot of other issues, not just helping with pain, but causing GI issues. And I had to take then, whether it was like a Tums or something for my stomach every day, just because of the anti-inflammatories were so harsh. So when I started then using oils, ratioed oils on myself, I'd started with a CBD rich product, and then I would change to like a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. But I saw that I could use these products in substitution of these pharmaceuticals that I was taking. So, as a result, years later, that's what I use for my own health conditions. I still have bulging discs, so I use CBDA for nerve pain. There's a lot of different cannabinoids that can be used for a lot of different reasons. So when I personally witnessed like what these cannabinoids could do for health, that's when I knew, as we were waiting to open the dispensary, we knew as a team we wanted to open it as a medicinal shop. Even though we have a medicinal license, because when it went to Prop 64, I think the medical patients fell by the wayside. You didn't need a medical rec to go into stores anymore, but we still saw it as, medicine. And that's what we set out when we opened the dispensary. We wanted to definitely promote it as a health and wellness tool to supplement your endocannabinoid system. And that's the education we want to give everybody every day when they walk in the store.
Yep. And you do a great job of that. You can really feel that when you walk in the place. And then obviously, your, the people working there have, kind of that back, a little bit of knowledge so they can help you and assist you in that regard as well. It's interesting because, as you well know, not all dispensaries, have that as kind of a premium or as a core part of their culture, that sort of thing, which I really do think makes Cannabis Works stand out in a good way. You can hear the passion in your story, and thank you for sharing, of course, your personal story with us. And one thing I really took from it is just you have this huge, and from talking to you prior to this, you have a huge passion for destigmatizing the plant overall. And I'm sure that everybody at Cannabis Works probably shares that philosophy. Could you speak to that a little more?
Definitely. So as we all know, this plant has been stigmatized for many, many years historically. It was used as medicine and taken out of pharmacopoeia in 1937 with the passage of the Marijuana Tax Act. So it had been used as medicine. And then for the federal government then to say, in 1970 when Nixon put it on the CSA, which made it Schedule 1, to say that it has no medicinal value and that, it is not even looked at as something that could help with anything. I find that just so ignorant and contradictory and almost nefarious that we're being told that now, So
at this point,
as far as
it's safe to say that it is. We've certainly seen enough to know that that's a pretty big misnomer. That's a pretty big omission.
Right. And, so as far as destigmatizing, you've got many generations that have been told that this plant is horrible, and so the largest growing demographic coming in the store is the senior population.
Yes.
And they're typically, on so many different medications that they're looking to just substitute one for sleep or one for pain because they're finding that their opiates are no longer helping their chronic pain. And they're having a host of other issues. So we work also with different doctors and we work with a company called Neomedic that works with seniors that, if they want to explore getting off of all their medications, we refer them to them and then they come back to us for certain oils, ratioed oils and or maybe some edibles. But, I think it's very important that we all destigmatize this plant because I see it as one of the most beneficial plants on this earth as far as just how many things it can help, and it's not a magic cure-all. It's not snake oil either, but there's reasons. There's cannabinoids, there's terpenes, there's other compounds in this plant that people just don't understand yet.
Right. Yeah. And destigmatization, it needs to happen on a lot of fronts. Like, there's the kind of propaganda, marketing, angle that you're talking about where, for a few generations, especially older folks now, who were really, really indoctrinated into this, like, cannabis is evil and and it's going to hurt you and, all the sort of stuff, which, that alone, like that, at least that has been, I think, proven to be like a little bit, misguided at the very least. And I think I'm being a little gentle there. But anyhow, it also goes to the education piece. Like you just mentioned cannabinoids, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people don't, really understand that there's so many facets of this plant that are only beginning to be uncovered and explored. Everybody sees the big, CBD. Oh yeah, that helps me and I don't get high from it. Or THC, that helps me and I get a little bit of a, mental state and stuff. And there's benefits to that on a lot of fronts. But there's so much more to it. Could you maybe talk a little bit about kind of cannabinoids and what people are kind of discovering and what you think is going to happen moving forward?
Mm-hmm. So as of now, the scientists that are studying this plant, because there's quite a few, there's at least 113 cannabinoids that they think are in this plant, over 500 compounds. Yep. So, obviously you've heard of CBD and THC. Sure. But then there's the acid forms of CBD and THC. There's CBDA and THCA, which is the way it grows naturally on the plant. So what's interesting about the acid forms is that they're therapeutically valuable as well, right. But they also do not cause psychoactivity. They're a little bit more stimulating, but CBDA, they have found that the acid form of CBD is what they call a selective COX-2 inhibitor. So that simply means that it's going to help with pain the same way a nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory would. So that's what I have substituted entirely for Advil or Aleve. For me personally, sure. That's something that I use. And but they're also studying CBDA for its anti-cancer benefits with breast cancer. And I mean, it's been studied for a lot of different reasons. Also, it's great as anti-nausea. It works even better than some of the other cannabinoids. But THCA is great in that they're looking at it for neuropathic pain, but they're also, it's non-psychoactive, but neurodegenerative issues are responding to THCA. Right. So, but then, there's other cannabinoids. The two most exciting ones, besides the ones I just talked about, CBG, cannabigerol. Cannabigerol is basically the grandmother of all cannabinoids. It's where they come from, they originate from. So CBG, a lot of different chemovars out there, cannabis chemovars, they're not very high in CBG. But because you typically have to harvest early for CBG. Okay. But so now it's, you don't see as much CBG in the cannabis space only because the people cultivating for the cannabis space are cultivating for high THC and CBD. Right. But you will find it outside of dispensaries. But CBG is an incredible cannabinoid. I work with a doctor who uses it primarily with her cancer patients for its anti-proliferative or anti-cancer effects, but also it's great for anxiety. Yeah. CBD is another cannabinoid that people like to use for anxiety simply because it attaches to your serotonin receptor. But CBG has been, I personally think CBG is better for anxiety than CBDA, but everyone's endocannabinoid system is different. So how you respond is going to be different. But, there's quite a few other cannabinoids. There's CBN. CBN yep. is basically it's THC that has been oxidized over time. So your THC is going to convert to CBN over time, and then CBN is thought to be much more sedating than just delta-9 THC. So that's being used in a lot of different sleep products and sleep formulations, the CBN. Another cannabinoid, THCV, tetrahydrocannabivarin. THCV is being studied for type 2 diabetes, for insulin resistance, and also for metabolic.
Not today.
What's that? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a study done. I don't want to butcher this or get it wrong, but anyhow, there was a study released, and they reported on it today about could cannabis help diabetes? Yep. Right. No statements were made, but it was just, and that's the cannabinoid they were pointing to.
They're definitely studying it. Definitely. And also, it is what when you have cannabis that has high amounts of THCV, it's known to be more appetite suppressing than, so we have a couple products in store that are high in THCV. We have a tincture, and then we also have, they do pre-rolls and vape pens. But we have one customer that's been using one of the vape pens, which is high CBD and THCV. The name of the company is Doug's Variant that puts it out. Mm-hmm. But she came back saying after she had used it for a few months that her cholesterol had dropped.
Yeah,
so, this is just anecdotal feedback I'm getting. It's not because I'm saying it's going to do this, but when customers come back and say, this is the only thing I've been using and this has changed my life,
I can only talk to so many people who've dealt with cancer, had family members deal with cancer, and all of a sudden they're like, well, this actually helped my appetite when they were on chemo, or mitigated pain a little bit, et cetera. I mean, you can only hear that so many times before you got to go, okay, I think there might be something here.
Might be something, right?
Yeah. And clearly there's more than something because you've staked your whole career on it, obviously. So here you are. And you're succeeding as you should. Shelly, I could talk to you about cannabinoids and how the plant's evolving all day long. But of course, we have a little bit of a time limit here. We're definitely going to have you back again to talk more about the science of the plant and the health and wellness benefits of it. Wrazel, we really seek to be a hub for bringing this kind of information to everyone. A lot of people look at us, so, oh, well, you guys help cannabis companies raise capital and you help investors find good opportunities. Well, part of good opportunities is people who are doing things in a forward-thinking way, that are looking to educate folks, that are looking to teach, especially people from the outside looking in, of which there are many right now, to kind of show that there's so many facets to this space, and there's so many different ways that cannabis is going to evolve. And health and wellness folks like yourself are going to be such a key, vital cog to all this. So, Shelly, I want to thank you so much for joining me on Connecting Cannabis today, and I look forward to doing it again soon.
I look forward to being on the show again. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, my pleasure, Shelly. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you very soon. Catch us next time, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.